Good afternoon and welcome to our latest Milwaukee Press Club virtual newsmaker, this one with Tommy Thompson, the UW System Interim President. He is joining us courtesy of a whole bunch of sponsors. We'd like to welcome you aboard. By the by, I'm Gene Miller, President of your Milwaukee Press Club, at least for another couple of weeks, and we thank you for joining us. Our sponsors include our presenting sponsor, Spectrum News One, also our sustaining sponsor, Miller Koss. Our event partners with WizPolitics.com, who partner with us for these luncheons as part of an ongoing event series here in Milwaukee, sponsored by UW Milwaukee, the Wisconsin Academy of Global Education and Training, 1125 at Pabst, the Milwaukee Police Association, the Firm Consulting, the Medical College of Wisconsin, and Spectrum. And if you like what you're seeing today and would care to find out more about the Milwaukee Press Club, either in terms of membership or perhaps even a donation to us or an endowment fund, we would appreciate that. Just go to milwaukeepressclub.org. Our guest today, like I said, is Tommy Thompson, a man who certainly needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway because that's how we roll. He's the state's only four-term governor, former Secretary of Health and Human Services under President George W. Bush, a well-known champion of Wisconsin's public universities, having become UW System Interim President July 1st, succeeding Ray Cross. It was just days ago that he proposed a 3.5% increase to the 2021 state budget for the system to fund several initiatives, including a statewide free tuition scholarship program for some Wisconsin students. He is quoted at the time as saying, "I am sick and tired of apologizing for the University of Wisconsin. We're an asset." So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the interim president of the UW system, former Wisconsin Governor Tommy Thompson, who, by the by, just for everybody watching and listening, has told us to call him Tommy. So we're not being impolite or rude. That is the title he told us beforehand that he prefers. So, Tommy, it's all yours.
Gene, well, thank you so very much. And thank you for having me at the Milwaukee Press Club. I think I'm still a member at the Milwaukee Press Club. I think you gave me I think when I was governor after the fourth time, and I think you gave me a permanent membership, I think. So I'm welcoming myself back to the club. And I want to thank all of you, from all the reporters who were on, all the people that participated in the Milwaukee Press Club. You're wonderful people, and I just want to say thank you. Yeah, I'm delighted. I never sought this job. I didn't apply for it, and they came to me, and I turned them down a couple times before I finally accepted. And the president of the Board of Regents said, we really need you. The University of Wisconsin is in trouble financially, and we need some help with the legislature. We need somebody that's going to be a champion. And I said, fine, I'll consider it. And after 3 times, I finally said yes. And now I'm here, and it's got many problems, but we're working through those problems and coming up with solutions. And yesterday, I appeared in front of the Board of Regents and presented my budget. And the budget was well received by the Board of Regents. In fact, after I got done speaking about the budget, I got a round of applause. And I can't remember anybody ever getting applauded by the Board of Regents when they made a presentation. So I felt good. And the budget is being well received by the chancellors and the provosts. I talked to those individuals on a very regular basis, and they said, it's nice to have somebody not apologizing for the university. So that's why I used it, because the chancellor said, it's nice to have somebody out there positively talking about the future. And so when I looked at it, I wanted to present a budget that was going to fund the university. First, you got to take into consideration that we lost about $50 million in lapsing. Lapsing means that the state takes back the money. And they did that in the first semester and the first year of the biennium. And now they're asking to take some more money back in the second year of the biennium. And so in order to get back to almost even, I had to put in a budget with an increase of 3.5% a year, or approximately $96.7 million from the state of Wisconsin. But when you look at the state of Wisconsin, their contribution, it's about 17 cents out of every dollar, which we need to operate the University of Wisconsin system. And so I tell you, Gene, and I ask you, if you would give me 17 cents and I return and give you 83 cents back, how often would you do that? And I bet you quite a bit, wouldn't you? And I know Jeff Mayers would. And so I'm saying to the people of the state of Wisconsin, you're getting a real bargain, a real bargain. And so why don't you contribute more? Why don't you give us the opportunity to show you what we can do? And so we'd return approximately $23 for every dollar we get from the state of Wisconsin. That's a tremendous return on your investment in ROI. And so that's why I put together the budget. Then I looked around and I said, I want to change the Wisconsin idea. I want to expand it. I want to make sure that, that the university is serving all the people. So number one, I looked around and I looked at the statistics and found out that there are 815,000 individual residents that started at the University of Wisconsin or vocational school, never finished for some reason, got married, got a job, got upset with the school, didn't do well, whatever the case may be. I'm going after those, and I'm going to set up a distance learning program so we can get those individuals educated right in their right in their homes or at their jobs. I want to make sure that those individuals become college graduates, be able to help them economically and with their families. And I'm sure they felt, that's one thing I didn't do. I didn't finish my college. I'm going to give them that opportunity, distance learning. Number two, I want individuals to have the opportunity to go to college. We're in COVID-19. It's a terrible time. Everybody's under stress. You reporters were talking about that before I got on. And I want to make sure that families can send Johnny, Jeff, and Davey to school. And I want to make sure that they have the opportunity. So I said, let's give them the tuition promise. So all campuses now can send their children, that those families that make under 60,000 can send their children on to school, tuition free. Number three, we have a huge shortage of teachers in this state. And we need more young people to go into teaching. And so I decided, why don't we forgive them if they're going to teach in hard places, that are difficult to get teachers, be able to give them an opportunity to have their student loans paid for, and also allow teachers to be paid the second semester of their junior year and their fourth year, and have the school boards pay their tuition. Give them an opportunity, a reason to go into teaching, an economic one. Number four, I want to do something about water initiative. We got this beautiful state with water all over, the Great Lakes. In your Milwaukee, you got the Great Lakes Initiative. I want to expand that in the Mississippi River. We got some problems, with groundwater. We got problems in some of our lakes. We got some problems, with very little groundwater. And so what we're trying to do is be able to develop programs and be able to expand it worldwide. People all over it. Can you imagine the people in the Middle East? They have hardly any water, and we got a great abundance of it. Start educating and get people from all over the world to come to Milwaukee, learn about the great water and problems, but also solutions and the water initiatives that we have in Milwaukee. I want to look around and see the business we have in the water industry and be able to incorporate those into our college programs and be able to attract more students. I want to be able to do something for students that have mental health problems. One of the biggest problems, especially now with COVID, I want to make sure that we teach and take care of our students, keep them in classes, and take care if they do have mental problems or depression, be able to take care of them and do what is necessary. I want to do something also to modernize the university. It's amazing when I came in here and found out that administratively there are all kinds of problems. I don't know. You said one of you was talking about econ, and we're a $6 billion entity, Gene, and we still are on the cash method. We have 33 general ledgers when any other business has one. we pay for everything by credit card, and we have a very difficult time. There are credit cards all over. I'm going to try and find out how many credit cards we are. Nobody can tell me. And I want to be able to modernize that. I also want to be able, to allow the University of Wisconsin to borrow money. Every other university in America can have a line of credit, except the University of Wisconsin. No, why? I don't know. Vocational schools in the state can borrow money. University can't. Why not? I want to modernize the university, make this university something that nobody else has ever seen. I want it to be the best university we possibly can make it. Educate more students and give them the opportunity to have this university the best managed, the best operated, with the best security system, the best computer system, best business thing. All of these things I'm looking at, and I'm coming up with solutions. You all know me. I'm an idea man. I gotta have ideas. I gotta advance them. And that's why this budget is taking the problem areas. I've come up with a solution, put it in front of the legislature. Now I gotta go sell it to the governor. And he has been very supportive, and his staff has been very supportive. Now I gotta go after the governor puts his budget together. I gotta go and convince the legislature. And I want to do it on a bipartisan basis. As you all know, I'm very bipartisan. I love, to bring people together. And I think we've been way too partisan and too divided in this state, in this country. And I want to bring people together. And that's my mantra, to the legislature. Let's come together. There's no such thing as a good Republican idea without a good Democrat idea. A good Democrat idea and a good Republican idea. Bring them together, meld them together, and let's build the university. And that's what Tommy Thompson's all about. And that's why I'm very happy to be able to come in front of you and enlist your support. A lot of your college graduates from the system. Now it's time for you, all of you, to give back and help me make this university system the best that it possibly can be.
Now we go to the question and answer session of the program. Our panel of journalists.
I thought I was done. I thought, that after that great speech, you would say, Tommy, amen.
Hard to believe, but I'm sure these three people have some questions for you. They include Jeff Mayers, the president of WizPolitics.com, Ted Perry, anchor and reporter at Fox 6 in Milwaukee, and Davey Shastri, higher education reporter at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. We'll let Jeff lead off, and the panel will take it from here.
Hi there, Tommy. Very glad to have you aboard, and thanks very much for doing this. And I think it's congratulations to be the president of the university system, although you got a tough task ahead of you.
I don't think it's congratulations. I think it's condolences.
Well, at any rate, you alluded to this. Proposing the budget and getting the regions to approve is that's the easy step. Now, and maybe an easier next easy step is getting Governor Evers to say yes. But convincing the legislature, your old party, the Republicans, have been very skeptical. They've been done a lot of micromanaging, very critical of things at the university, the financing of the university. And so I'm wondering, you said, you want to bring them all together, but really, what is your core argument to these very skeptical Republicans who will probably be in the majority again early next year?
Well, first off, Jim, I don't think it was that easy to get it through the Board of Regents, but I did. They gave me an applause after my speech. You didn't do it today, but they did, and so I think they were happy with the fact that I'm out there. I think, in the past, everybody from the university has gone down and apologized. I'm not apologizing. I'm going to lay out the problems, but also the benefits, Jeff. Just think of this. And I know you're a businessman. I've dealt with you for 30 years, probably, or maybe even 40. And I know you're tight with a buck. And I know you're my friend. And I know if I would offer you the same deal, 17 cents, and you give me 17 cents, I'd give you 83 cents. You'd probably do that 25, 30 times a day, right?
Sure. I'll make money off of you anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the state is doing. It's making money off of the university. $23 we return for every $1 that's invested. Where else can you get that kind of an investment? And why not, when we're in this COVID-19 situation where unemployment is high, where people are afraid about their jobs, where we don't know. You were talking about not going to restaurants, you're ordering out, you're not being able to participate in society because of COVID-19, because you're afraid, and rightly so. And so while we're in this period, what better place than to invest, whether you be a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or a communist? Right now, it's time to stand up. If we want to grow out of this thing, the best investment by the state of Wisconsin is the University of Wisconsin. And who better than me, a former Republican legislator, former Republican governor, a graduate, 2 degrees. I think my family's got 12 degrees from the university. I have a lot to return to this great system, like you do, like every one of you. And I want the legislature to buy into it. I want the legislature, I'm going to be inviting them out here. I'm going to be bringing people and their constituents out here to see what we're doing. I'm going to have Jeff Mayers come out someday, walk around and see the modern university. And all of you, I want to educate the people of the state of Wisconsin what the university is all about and tell them, let's grow together. Let's get out of this situation of being critical. And if I want the legislature to be part of this economic engine we call the University of Wisconsin. And I'm going to invite them in the tent, and hopefully they'll participate and make the University of Wisconsin the best that it possibly could be. The new Wisconsin idea.
All right. Ted, you're on.
I feel like I have to begin by saying you rah-rah Wisconsin and class of '86 member here, Governor. So thank you for that.
How many degrees do you have, Ted?
Just the one, but you know, it's worked for me. So
you've done very well, haven't you?
I've done okay. I always say I've done better than a C student from the University of Wisconsin should do in life. But listen, I'm still calling you governor because that's just the way I am. But I want to ask you.
Thank you, Ted.
If you were governor today, would there be a mask mandate? If so, why? If not, why not? And if a bunch of Democratic lawmakers said, no, you don't have the power to do that, we're coming to Madison to overturn it, how would you respond?
Well, first off, I'm former Secretary of Health. I'm big in public health. There's no question about it. And what did I do? One of my first initiatives here at the University of Wisconsin was to require a mask in the classrooms of our colleges. I want people in this state to be healthy. I can't say, because I'm not a doctor, that masks are going to keep you healthy, but they're going to help you prevent from carrying a disease to Davey or to Jeff. And so let's think about our neighbors. Let's think about each other. And so let's be healthy. And a mask certainly is for a public health situation. And until we get our hands around this COVID, I think it's only practical that you take care of yourself. Your family depends upon it.
So would that be a yes? Would you have issued a mask mandate statewide?
I did for the colleges.
Okay.
I did for the colleges.
And it sort of gets to the bigger question, and you touched on it before. How did we get to this point? We were so divided that even public health has become a partisan issue.
I think it's just part of the times. I think we become a very cynical society, and we become much more political than when I was there. my philosophy of government was, yes, I'm a Republican, a good Republican, and I love the Republicans. There's no question about it. But I love Democrats too. And I say, after the election, it's time for us to forget about, the R's and the D's and come up with solutions. That's why the vast number of individuals support us. They want answers, and I want answers. I want solutions, and I want people together. People forget, that I was governor for over 14 years, almost 15. And during that time, 12 out of the 15 years, the Democrats control both houses. I could have sat back and not do anything and just blame the Democrats, but that's not my nature. I wanted to go out and do things. So the only way I could get things done was convincing Democrats that I was a straight up guy. I was a man of my word, and I wanted to come up with solutions. And I think that's the kind of government people are looking for. Come on back and let's find solutions to the problem. So Ted, and I'm not critical of anybody. It's time to come together. And I think there's enough blame to go around. I think, you sort of were blaming the Republicans. I think there's enough blame. I think you blame the Republicans long enough. I think there's enough blame for Democrats too. Democrats have not been overly eager to work with Republicans. And I think you need somebody like me that says, come on, forget it. Let's come together. And they need you, Ted, because you're a leader in your community. You got to say, it's time to start working together.
Well, we'll circle back to that, but I will defer to Davey for the next question.
Okay. Davey, how are you?
Doing good, Governor. How are you?
I'm good.
Long time no see.
I saw you yesterday, didn't I?
Yeah. So, kind of playing off the past two questions we've had, a lot of people say that education has become increasingly politicized in recent years. Just as one example, when you were appointed in your current position, a member of your own party, State Senator Steve Nass, called on you to refocus the system on education instead of liberal indoctrination. You've said, of course, that you're tired of apologizing for the UW system, but you've also said yesterday that there are trust issues here. So I'm just wondering, why do you think the university is such a political flashpoint in Wisconsin, and especially among members of your own party?
I think, there's a lot of reasons why that's the case, but I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back and fight old battles. I'm futuristic. I'm a visionary, and I love ideas. And I'm telling everybody that will listen, let's take a look at the big picture. Let's take a picture of what can happen in this state. How do we grow this state? How do we make this state more profitable? How do we create economic development? How do we create jobs? How do we educate our young people? And I tell you, the best answer is investing in the University of Wisconsin system. Are we going to do everything right? No. Are you going to agree with everything we do? No. But overall, at the end of the day, I want you to come back and say, Tommy, you did a good job. You tried. We're turning out 37,000 graduates a year. 37,000 graduates. Most of them live in the state of Wisconsin. Most of them work in Wisconsin. Most of them are creating jobs in Wisconsin. That's good. And I want to increase the graduations. I want to increase the economic development. I want to increase the opportunities for young men and women. And I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, come on in, see the modern university, and help me grow it to become the best university possible. And that's not a Republican idea. That's not a Democrat idea. That's Tommy Thompson's idea. And I'm enlisting your support along with Ted. I'm not sure about Jeff yet, but I want you and Ted to be on my bandwagon. All right?
All right, I'll pass it on to Jeff.
Well, this is just like the old press conferences in the governor's conference room, Governor. All right. So, coronavirus is lurking on the campuses. We've had University of North Carolina and Notre Dame suspend their in-person classes. UW system schools are about to come back. What are your hopes and fears, and what happens if there's a surge of cases on campuses?
It's a very good question, Jeff. I got to go back to when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services. I bring you back to 9/11. And as you know, I was Secretary of Health when that happened. And the president was in Florida. The vice president was in a bunker. And nobody knew what was going on. And I just took it upon myself to call a state of emergency at 10 o'clock that morning. Don't know if I had the power, but I did. And I was able to get a plane in the air. I think the only individual outside of the Air Force that got a plane in the air that day and delivered 100 tons of medical supplies to the city of New York by 5 o'clock that afternoon. And I realized at that time that there was no way for me to keep track of everything. And so after that, I built a war room. And I think you've been there, where I had had the whole world right at my fingertips. And right in the center was the center of the universe, Elroy, Wisconsin, if you remember that correctly. And so I came back and I found out, we got this COVID coming, and I've got to have a plan that's going to work. And so I built an operational room on the 19th floor of Van Nuys, and every morning at 9:30, for an hour and a half, my team is up there throwing questions at each other, looking for solutions. And we have developed what we think a tremendous plan. We've teamed up with every county health department. Every county health department has got a college in its area. We've got a memorandum of understanding for them to do the tracing. We entered into big deals, big contracts with individuals like Advocate Aurora to take care of the testing for Milwaukee and Parkside. We've got Provera up in Green Bay to take care of the University of Green Bay and Oshkosh. Marshfield, we entered into an agreement with for Stevens Point, Stout, Eau Claire, and La Crosse. We've entered into with the hospital in Duluth to take care of Superior. Weber Logistics is taking care of River Falls. Then we went out and we said, how are we going to do the testing? And we looked at what other individuals were doing, which is a PCR testing. This is the one that's this deep swab into your nose cavity up to your brain. But the problem is, Jeff, it takes 48 hours to get a response back. And I thought to myself, that's going to be problematic, for a college student to wait 48 hours to get a response. So I looked around and we came up with the Antigen Testing, which is a short nasal, and we can get the test result. We got the machines, and you can get the test back within 15 minutes. So it's point of care. So you walk in, Jeff Mayers, with a headache. We'll take your test. We can find out immediately if you test positive. If you test positive, we're going to quarantine you or isolate you. And
I'm sure these Governor, I'm sure these other schools had what they thought were really good plans too, and then stuff started spiraling out of control. And so doesn't that give you pause?
No school, Jeff, has got the testing regimen that we've set up. I really don't think so. We are farther along. We're going to have I've ordered 350,000 tests for our campuses. Don't have them all delivered yet, but we got the machines, 18 of the machines delivered last week. We're going to have 18 next week. We're going to get 20,000 tests next week. We're going to do, the only way you're going to get on top of this thing is by testing. And
right. But in the first couple of weeks, it's going to be a mess. Let's face it. There's going to be a lot of
Gonna
cases.
be problems. There's no question about it. And we gotta stay the course. We gotta make sure we do the testing, and we gotta make sure we do the quarantining. We gotta make sure we take care of each of these students that come down sick. And we're going to have to be dedicated to do that. And we gotta keep looking at ways to find better care and better opportunities. I happen to believe that we can get this done and done correctly, safely, and healthy. I want, for the reason the tests are there, and the reason we set this up is to make sure we protect the professors, the instructors, the employees, the administrators, and above all, the students.
Right, but what do you say to those? What do you say to those? I mean, the Democratic National Convention didn't even occur in Milwaukee because they thought it was too dangerous. And what do you say to those who say, well, you know, the safest way to do this is just do it virtual. Don't even try to get the kids back on campus.
We are doing a lot virtual. Right now, each campus is taking a look at what they have and making a determination, Jeff, as to whether or not the program should be virtual. Milwaukee, we reached an agreement with the Milwaukee Health Department and the university. 25% of their courses are going to be in person. 75% are going to be online. And from that 25-75, each campus is different. And we're also going to be talking individually to a student. Some students may come back, you know, that maybe have an immune system that's compromised. They can take all their courses online. Some professors do not want to teach, and we will do that on an individual case, Jeff, and allow them to make that determination with the university, with their university, to be able to teach online or to go in person. And we got a regimen for cleaning every classroom. We got hand wipes, hand sanitizers in every room. We're using CDC standards to clean the residence hall. We're going to do everything we can to protect the health. Is there going to be breakouts? Absolutely. You also know that the taverns and the bars, we're reaching out to the bars. I'm sending a letter with the Tavern League and with the Restaurant Association saying, you know, you got to be careful. I'm putting out videos to all the students, and I'm asking the chancellors to do that, you know, and we're talking to the sororities and the fraternities. No big parties. Now, we know human nature, Jeff.
Good luck on that, guy.
Yeah, you're right. But at least we're trying, and we're meeting every kind of exigent out there. We're trying to take care of and come up with a solution. And I gotta try. I gotta be able to open up the schools. We have found that the students want to come back. We have found students want to be able to be in the classroom. We found their parents do. And my message to them, students, this is up to you. You can go back and live in the mom and dad's basement, or you can stay in Madison or Milwaukee or Platteville. It's up to you. And I've got a granddaughter that's going to the University of Wisconsin this year. And she knows she would much rather be with her girlfriends living in a dorm than it is back home. And so I'm impressing every college student that I come in contact with, putting out plenty of public relations, you know, trying to convince them. It's up to them. And it's up to the professors. It's up to every one of us to do this as safe and as healthy as possible. And I'm going to tell you, I think our regimen and our plan is as good or better than any other university I've seen. I know that our testing is much more complete than North Carolina and Notre Dame.
All right, Ted, sorry, I thought I had to carry through and get to the bottom of that. So on to you, Ted.
No apologies needed for a follow-up, Jeff. Governor, I'm going to stick on the COVID on campus situation here and talk about football. You know the importance of athletics, especially in Big Ten. I know you're a fan. Big Ten, one of two power conferences to say no football this year, but some, as of late, have criticized that process, saying it's been less than transparent. What role did you have in representing the university to say, we're not playing, Do you think it's a good idea? And what do you make of these colleges like Nebraska and Ohio State who are talking about going rogue and having their own schedules?
Well, first off, I think Barry Alvarez and Chancellor Blank did they listened to the arguments. They went to several meetings, and I'm certainly not going to criticize them. I think that they based their decision upon the evidence that was given them, and I think we support them. I support them, and would I like to be playing football? Of course I would. Who wouldn't? I know you, Ted. You would like to see him play football. Every one of you up there would. But the truth of the matter is, got to do it like we're doing in classes. We're trying to make everything safe. And it's tough to be safe when you're tackling somebody. It's tough when you're blocking somebody not to, to have some effluent come out of your mouth and or perspire. So we're trying to do it. And I think, I don't think they're going to go rogue. I'm talking to a lot of people, and I think, they're looking at spring football. I would love to see spring football. And, there's still a lot of discussions going on how they would do it. And I've talked to Barry Alvarez many times about it, and I'm encouraging him. I think it's wonderful if we do have spring football. And I hope we have basketball. But COVID is a dangerous disease. It's a dangerous virus. And we got to protect our student athletes. We got to protect our students. We got to protect the system. And I don't think they're going to go rogue. They can talk about it, but I don't think they're going to. I think the Big Ten has made a decision. I think everybody may not like it, may be critical, but are supporting.
All right, very good. I'll let that be your answer on that, Davey.
Kind of going back to Jeff's line of questioning a little bit, and
Why do you go back there, Davey? Let's try it.
I go back a little bit. And so I know this is difficult. One of the things that stuck in my head reading all the coverage around reopening was when the president of Texas A&M said he had an easier time helping draft the reunification plan for East and West Germany. So it's hard. But there have been a lot of questions I've heard from parents in terms of what will it take to close again. I think that's a huge question. Vassar College's president went out publicly with the Wall Street Journal saying, if our isolation capacities are 80%, if we're getting 5% or more positive cases back, like clear numbers. So I'm just curious. Will the UW system commit to disclosing that kind of data and those thresholds with numbers when it comes to that decision?
We are going to have data accumulated, and we're going to have a dashboard, and you're going to get it, Davey, and everybody up there gets it except Jeff Mayers. We don't give it to Jeff, but everybody else is going to have an opportunity to see it on a daily basis. We want people to understand what we're doing, and if you know me, Dave, you don't know me like Jeff and Ted do. They know that I've been thinking about these problems and what happens if the incident. We're going to have cases. There is no question about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to do everything we can through our testing to be able to protect it and to protect individuals. That's my ultimate goal, is to make sure that we protect the students and the professors and so on. And I'm also setting up a doctors group. That's, the nice thing about being president, I have the access of some of the best doctors in the world right here on the Madison campus. And I've got doctors that are advising me, epidemiologists, infectious disease doctors that are advising me about the incidents and about this virus. And so I got plenty of medical professionals that are talking to me, and I'm not going to tell you, and I'm not going I'm not going to tell Ted, and I certainly am not going to tell Jeff, what my plans are as far as incidents and so on. But you can rest assured, I'm looking at all the data on a daily basis.
So just to be clear, those thresholds won't be publicly posted of what it'll take?
No.
Number.
They're in my head. Even the people around here don't know.
All
Okay.
right, Jeff, on to you, Jeff.
Oh, yes. All right. So, Tommy, and you asked us to call you Tommy, so I keep forgetting. But anyway, you keep talking about borrowing authority. And I'm wondering the Fed is pretty much has a free money available to those institutions who want to borrow. So if the UW system could borrow, would you borrow short term to take you through until there was a vaccine widely available?
Well, you know that I can't borrow.
Right, but would you if you could? Because the Fed's offering free money.
Jeff, I am asking for that authority. Vocational schools have it. Every university in the country have it. University of Wisconsin is the only school that can't get a line of credit. I'm asking in this budget for that. Absolutely, I would borrow money.
So would you use it for short-term things, or would you in backfilling tuition that isn't coming in because there's fewer students, or would you use it for building, or what would you use it for?
I would use it for probably my building program. Just like anybody else borrows money, to build a house or buy a house. I would build it for use it for classrooms or modernization of our buildings. But the state can borrow money, vocational schools can borrow money, University of Wisconsin can, every other university. And all I'm saying is treat us like everybody else. I'm a conservative. I will manage the money well. Give me the opportunity to borrow money, just like everybody else. You borrow money, I borrow money. University of Wisconsin-Madison or the system cannot.
Right. Some of those skeptical Republican legislators don't like all the building that's going on the campuses. They think there's too much building, especially on the UW-Madison campus, because there is state-supported borrowing with gifts and grants to build a lot of the buildings, like the Chem building that's going up on campus and fixing up dorms and whatnots and other buildings at UW system campuses around the state. So a lot of those skeptical legislators don't like so much building.
Most of our buildings on the Madison campus were built in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. And they're wearing out. And if you remember correctly, back during the flood, a lot of our classrooms were closed down because of flooding and deterioration. I want, instead of spending a lot of money building new buildings, I want to repair and rehabilitate and take care of the buildings we got. That's prudence. That's a prudent investor. And the legislators should realize that Tommy Thompson wants to take care of the existing buildings and maintain them and be able to have them used for another 25 to 50 years. Otherwise, you're gonna have to build new. So I think it's a good investment to follow the philosophy that I'm laying out. The biggest share of the borrowing money in this budget is going to be to take care of repairing and modernizing the existing classrooms and buildings.
Okay. All right, Ted, on to you.
Governor, I said I'd come back to this, and I want to because I think it's important. You mentioned before about getting people together, and I called a lawmaker who was serving at the time when you were governor, and I said, "Is it revisionist history that Tommy Thompson was a coalition guy?" And he said, "Absolutely not. He definitely was. He knew how to reach out to us Democrats. He knew how to get Republicans on his side if it was a position that they weren't really keen on necessarily." My question is this. You say, come on, guys, we got to get together. There's enough blame from the governor's office. There's enough blame from state leaders. How specifically do you do that? What message would you have if you were sitting at a euchre table with the governor and the Speaker of the Assembly and the Senate Majority Leader? How specifically do you change the tone of politics in Wisconsin to get it back to the days when you could work with a Polly Williams or a Howard Fuller and get things done, because there is a division in the state that is ugly.
Ted, it's not going to be easy, but you got to try. I grew up in Elroy. You have to be optimistic just to get up in the morning, for Christ's sakes. You know, I mean, if I would say what couldn't be done, I wouldn't have taken this job. I believe I can do that. I can remember the story of Joe Andrea, a Democrat senator from Kenosha. Every Tuesday that we were in session, Joe Andrea came in and talked to me every Tuesday. And he went to a caucus once, just to give you an example. He went to a caucus and the majority leader was my friend Chuck Qualla. You know, Chuck and I ran against each other for governor. And Chuck Qualla turned down Joe Andrea for one of his requests for Kenosha. He was very pro-Kenosha, as everybody knows. And he said, okay, I'll just go up and see my friend Tommy. Walked out of the caucus, went up and saw me and said, you know, the Democrats will not give me anything that I need for Kenosha. Can you help me? And I said, sure I can, Joe. And Joe walked back in the caucus and he said to Chuck Qualla, he said, I don't care if you don't give it to me. Tommy will. And I use that as an example, as a way you got to be able to help people. I want to be able to take individual legislators to the campuses. I want to bring Democrats and Republicans out to Madison. You know, while they're here, take them around and show them what we're doing. I like to bring the press out, show you all the great innovations, the great hospital system, the great discoveries we're making, and take a look at it and say, this is your university. This is your university. And a lot of you have graduated from it. And look what you've done. You got elected. You're representing the people. Now let's build this university. It's a sense of pride, you know, to have the University of Wisconsin football team, you know, go to the Rose Bowl. It's a sense of pride, you know, for the Badgers to win the game. It's a sense of pride for us to discover new innovation. We're discovering right now on the Madison campus a new test for COVID. I'm excited about that. You should be. The legislature should be. And I want to bring them out here and say, this is it. This is your university. Help us. Help us and let's work together and get it done. Let's make more discoveries. Let's educate more people. Let's develop more economic development. I'm doing another thing. And I think the legislature should like this. I'm making an inventory of all of our assets. We got property all over. Okay. Why don't we, you know, take a look at that property? Instead of asking the legislature for more money, help me monetize. You know, we got heating towers. We got TV antennas. We got golf courses. We got this and we got that. And I'm going to make an inventory of those assets. And I'm going to ask the legislators, give me your ideas. I'm going to ask Ted Perry, you know, what do you think we could do in Milwaukee to enter into a joint venture? University of Superior has got a block of land, a block, that some of the people want to develop it. And we're going to develop, hopefully, a joint venture and develop a whole block, a city block in Superior with businesses. And the university is going to receive the benefit of it. Should we own residence halls? I don't know. But maybe we should monetize, maybe we should manage them, maybe we should sell them off. And so I'm going to be looking at all these ideas on how to make the university better. And I want the legislators to be part of that, Republican and Democrat. And that's how I'm going to do it.
Well, out of nostalgia, I might buy the 7th floor of Whitty B where I lived for a couple of years. I'll pass the next question to Davey.
He said, so with all your big ideas, Governor, it's hard to keep in mind that you're in an interim position and that in just a matter of months, probably they'll start a new search for the next UW system president. What is your hope for the long-term trajectory of the system, and what kind of person do you think should be in that position?
That's up for the board of regents, but I want to hit, Davey, I'm here for a short period of time. I didn't ask for this job, but if you know anything about me, I'm going to do everything I can to work to strengthen and improve the University of Wisconsin, and in the process, strengthen the presidency so that there are going to be a lot of people that will want this job. They had a failed search and they came to me and they said, fix it. And I'm going to fix it. And so then they'll put out a search and hopefully people from all over will say, I want to be part of the future of the University of Wisconsin. And we'll get some, I'm confident we'll get great candidates. And I can go back to my farm and raise my cattle and not have to worry about COVID and Jeff Mayers ever again.
At this point in the proceedings, I'm going to hop in and ask some questions from our audience in the time we have remaining. I will do these in the order that they were received. What's the latest with the Foxconn contribution to UW-Madison? Do you think you'll ever see the promised money? And what's your impression of the Foxconn project overall?
I haven't gotten into that. I just haven't had time. I haven't looked at the Foxconn project, except I was down there for the opening, but I haven't looked at it or the contract. I'm going to, but it's not right now in the top 10 of my items I got to get done. I got to open up the university. I got to put together a budget, and that's what I've been doing. It's taking all my time. So the Foxconn is down here. I'll take a look at it. And if I get to it before I leave, I will. And I'm sure I'll come up with a solution. But right now, I haven't had time to get to it.
Next up, will you find a way to have professors teaching in classrooms to be tested daily or multiple times a week, just as professional athletes are?
Say that again?
Will you find a way to have professors teaching in classrooms to be tested daily or multiple times a week, just as professional athletes are?
Probably not. I don't think that's necessary. Testing is very difficult to get. I want the professors to be tested because I want to protect them. I want them to protect themselves, and I think they want that. But I'm not going to say that we're going to test them every day, and they certainly are not professional athletes. I think they're, and I'm certainly not in any way reducing the value of professors or increasing the value of professional athletes. I think we are fortunate to have the great professors that we have in this state, and they'll want to take care of themselves. They certainly don't need me to tell them that. So they'll be tested, and they'll do it on their time. I'm not going to order them to be tested.
Our next question, where would the money come from to pay for Wisconsin's tuition promise? And would there be any requirement that the student recipients maintain a passing or specific GPA?
Good question. No, money's going to come hopefully from the state of Wisconsin in my budget. That's where I'm putting it, requesting it. I think it's a tremendous investment to be able to get more young people, individuals that probably don't have the financial capability of going to come to this great school. I can remember coming from Elroy. We had no financial ability to send me to University of Wisconsin. I had to work my way through it. Ted probably did too, and Jeff did, and you probably did too. But I had to work my way through it, and I'd like to give young men and women, high school graduates from Elroy, Superior, from Manitowoc, from Platteville, the opportunity to come to this great school. And I think the state is is invested in the future of the state when we get them to come. So I think this is the state's responsibility, and it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the state to get, a diversification into our campuses, to be able to get the best and the brightest and young people from all walks of life and all colors and be able, all races and ethnic groups, to come to this great system. I love this system. And it's a great system, and I want to make sure that people participate, and we can turn out good students, and we can really make Wisconsin the best that it possibly can. And the University of Wisconsin can help Wisconsin build.
This will have to be our last question from the audience. UW-Madison, our flagship research university, used to be among the top 5 universities in the country for research and development. It has now fallen to number 8. That's concerning from an economic development standpoint. You have ideas for addressing the situation?
I am absolutely got ideas. And by the way, we would just, the University of Wisconsin-Madison this week was rated, I think, the 33 best university in the world. And I'm sad about falling from 5th to 8th as far as the research capabilities and ratings. Absolutely. I don't like Wisconsin even to be number 5. Wisconsin should be number 1. I've always believed that. We're a great state and great people. I don't accept anything but number 1 for Wisconsin. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to build Wisconsin to number 1.
UW System Interim President Tommy Thompson, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I hope we can have you back again. It is no problem filling an hour with you, and I'm sure our panel still has a lot of questions they would like to ask. So if I can put the invite out now.
I can see that smile in Jeff Mayers. He would love to get another crack at me. So thank all of you. I love you all, and have a great day and a great weekend. And let's keep building Wisconsin and the university, okay? Go back.
You.
Go Bucks.
Thanks to Jeff Mayers, president of WisPolitics.com, Ted Perry, anchor reporter at Fox 6, and Davey Shastry, higher education reporter at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Thanks as well to our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, Spectrum News 1, our sustaining sponsor, Miller Quast, and our event partners at WisPolitics.com, Jeff and his sponsors that include UW Milwaukee, Wisconsin Academy of Global Education and Training, 1125 at Pabst, Milwaukee Police Association, the Firm Consulting, the Medical College of Wisconsin, and Spectrum. If you enjoyed the program today, would like to do some more to support our mission, please consider donating to our endowment fund. Just go to our website, MilwaukeePressClub.org, click on the MPC Endowment tab, and you'll find out more there. And if you'd like to be a member, all the info is there for you as well. We have more events coming up. September 9th, a virtual newsmaker featuring Governor Tony Evers. And on September 17th, another virtual newsmaker featuring Stephen DeVogus, Commissioner, former chairman of the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Thanks again to our panel. Thanks to everybody who dipped in for this enlightening hour. We hope to see you again soon. I'm Gene Miller. See you next time.